there's not a whole lot of common core to lesson 11. It's really multiplication of decimals. Have you done it down in 5th grade? Raise your hand if you've done multiplication of decimals in 5th grade. All right, let's see what you can remember. 34.62 times 12. If I were to ask you to come up to the smartboard and set this up, who wants to come up to the board and at least just write it out and set it up, but don't actually do it yet? Karen, why don't you do it? And I bring this up because period 2 and period 3 did have difficulty setting this up. First person to get it right today is right there. Give her a round of applause. Okay? When we do multiplication of decimals, guys, we're not concerned about lining up the decimals anymore like we do with adding and subtracting. Line up the numbers. Also, and I want you to make a note for this question, the number that has the most amount of digits, this is a 4-digit number, this is a 2-digit number. The number that has the most digits always goes on top. So I want you to make a note of it, like little notes here. There's plenty of room over on the far right to write this down. The number with more digits goes on top. So write that down. And then there's one more other little note. Don't worry about it. Just let's move on. And number 2 is we line up numbers. Sometimes the decimals will line up, but you line up the numbers first. I'm going to show you a little trick also if it helps you when it comes to lining up what you're supposed to line up. All right, a little secret if it helps you. Some of you just automatically will be fine with knowing how to line up your numbers. But if you're getting hung up on how to line up your numbers, make believe the decimals are just not even there. Make believe this is just the number 3,462 and just make believe this is a 12. And I know that you know that if you had those two numbers, you would take 3,462 times 12 and you'd probably line it up like that, right? So sometimes it helps. Do that first. Forget about the decimals and then do it like there's no decimals. Then put your decimals in. And that way you'll always be right. All right, let's go through the long process of multiplying these numbers together. And again, there's no common core with this lesson. It's really procedural. It's just knowing how to multiply decimals together. What I do have to warn you is there is lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of careless math errors being made in my first two classes. To the point where I don't think anybody's getting 100 on these because they're making careless math errors. And I can't teach you not to make them. You've just got to be careful. Let's go through the process. Let's see if you remember at least how to do long multiplication. 2 times 2.
4.
2 times 6. Carry Mr. 1. 2 times 4.
8.
Plus 1.
9.
2 times 3.
6.
Mr. 0. 1 times 2.
2.
1 times 6. Sound like a bunch of robots. 1 times 4.
3.
1 times 3.
3.
Okay, add it up. 4 plus 0.
4.
2 plus 2.
4.
5, 9 plus 6.
5.
Carry Mr. 1. 1 plus 6 plus 4 plus 1.
11. Carry the 1. 4.
All right, now here we go. What did you learn in 5th grade about where the decimal goes? I have found that most of my students so far have a pretty firm grip on this. Nick? No. Oh, no. Kaylin?
I think the bottom decimal, like the one after the 12, goes 2 spaces back.
Say that again?
the decimal where it is on the bottom, it goes back 2 spaces.
All right, it does go 2 places, but how do we know that? Jay, what did you learn?
Because it's 34.62 and because it's in because the decimal is two digits.
From the 2 leaps from the right or left?
Right.
Okay, he's right. Here's our decimal here. You're making believe that if the decimal was on the far right, it's leaping 2 times to get here. To the left. To the left, yeah. I will actually give you credit if you put a 2 in parentheses outside of that number, because you're telling me that you know that that decimal gets leaped twice from the far right. What about here? How many times are you leaping the decimal? Be careful here. Jay.
2 from the right.
No.
2 from the left. Oh, 2 from the left.
How many from the right? Say it, Dan. 0.
Oh, you're talking about that?
This number is 12 points. 0, technically. So, now, all we do is we take how many total leaps between our 2 numbers that we're multiplying together. What's 2 plus 0? Say it. So we have 2 total leaps in the product. 1, 2, making our final product 415 and 44 hundredths. Okay? Let's do number 2 together. I want you to read 2 quietly to yourself, get the gist, underline your VIPs. Nothing's changed. It's the word problem, then we'll come back. With number 2 then, what operation do you need to do to get the answer? What are you doing? Are you adding, are you subtracting, are you multiplying, are you dividing? Raise your hand. Seriously? Read it again. What do we do? I got one hand.
That's me, right?
What operation is this? Leah. Can't hear you. Yeah, you're multiplying. Okay, now that we know that we're multiplying, what number goes on top? Matt.
$11.50.
Why?
Because it's bigger.
It's got the most amount of digits.
Which is better? Bigger?
That's going to leave the 135 or 13.5 for here. Notice when you line up the numbers, the decimals don't necessarily line up. That's okay. Now you got to be very, very, very careful when you do your multiplication, because this is a 4-digit number times a 3-digit number. Let's do it together. What's 5 times 0?
0.
5 times 5.
25.
5. Carry a 2. 5 times 1.
1.
Plus 2.
5, 6, 7, 3.
5 times 1.
5,000.
Add a 0. 3 times 0.
No, 0.
Be careful. When you put your digits in, make sure it lines up. 3 times 5.
15.
3 times 1 plus 1.
3, 4.
Killing me. 3 times 1.
3.
I had kids in period 2 and 3 stop here, and they started to add their columns up, their rows up. You're not done. How many? What do I got to do? And the robot tilted. So how many zeros I got to put here? All right.
2 zeros.
3 times 0.
0.
3 times 5. I'm sorry, 1 times 5.
5.
1 times 1.
1.
1 times 1.
1, 5, 0.
You're killing me, Barchi. You're killing me. What's this number? I've lost my train of thought here. What do we got?
14.
15.
4, carry the 1.
7 plus 5 is 1,500 plus 5 is 12.
No.
Okay, ready? Here we go.
It's 1,500. That's decimal.
We still haven't put our decimals in yet. Time out. Here's where we have to figure. How many times are we moving the decimal up in 11.50? How many times, Jen?
2.
Put a 2 here, you get credit for it. What about 13.5? A total of how many total leaps is, here we go, 1, 2, 3. Now, it's money. It's supposed to be money. So how would you do 155.250 as money? Remember, you guys had a hang-up last time on that last test when it says state your answer in a complete sentence. All word problems have to be a complete sentence. How much money is it, Anna? Okay, so now it's a word problem. So he earned, put the dollar sign, $155.25, and you're done.
Yay, we beat the game.